Diane, Elle, what's the responsibility when you're playing somebody true life, especially somebody that has family still around? Your character's still alive.
Yes.
Diane, how do you go about preparing for something like that and making it real?
Maybe be a good listener. I mean, you're living up to people's sense of sacrifice and the nobility of their cause and the injustice that they went through as far as being punished and vilified and criminalized for their American right to have political beliefs that are out of the mainstream, quote unquote. The diversity that democracy is supposed to afford us is to be able to disagree, and I think that's brilliantly, elucidated historically from Trumbo's mouth and in this film, in the screenplay.
In your case, Nikki's, how much did she participate and how much did you communicate with her about your character?
It was huge. She was very involved. I mean, even, with Mitzi and Nikki speaking to Jay and, reading different drafts of the script and all their input, I mean, I think mattered the most to all of us, especially to me with Nikki. We got to email back and forth and, I asked her a lot of questions specifically kind of about her and her dad's relationship, and because it's definitely a unique one, that's for sure. She kind of described it as like a love-hate. Even she loved him with all her heart, but still would get so frustrated with him. But that's where she got it from her father. Her passion came from him. So they saw each other as equals in that way. I mean, she even said that she called her parents like Trumbo and Cleo. It wasn't mom and dad. So they were all kind of on the same level and working together to push through such a difficult time as a family. They had to become a unit or you wouldn't survive.
And to her great surprise, there's that moment in the movie where he says, "You're more like me than you think you are,"
yes,
or something like that.
Yes, and that's all she ever wanted to be. She looked up to him more than anything, so yeah, it was special to her when he did say that. So.
And the daughters here, what did they say to you about their mom once they saw the movie? I mean, did they feel like you embodied what they hoped?
Yes, they were gratified to see their mom brought to the screen in terms of how strong she had to be under the weight of keeping the family together, keeping the plates spinning in the air, apologizing to the children for the predicament they found themselves in. It was a family business. So you want to stand by your man, and especially when his beliefs are noble and the sacrifice is for a good cause and the sense of dignity and what it is to be an American and be a creative generator of screenplays to inspire stories that need to get told. I just love that he won 2 Oscars under pseudonyms.
I know.
I mean, it's the fact, this film needed to get made so obviously, and it was begging to be told, and I'm so grateful that it took as long as it did so that it could be as perfect as it turned out, because it deserves to be perfect, because I think Dalton Trumbo is looking down, and Cleo too, and I think that we did them right, and I think Jay Roach did them right, and I think that Bryan Cranston
definitely
made
did
Dalton
yeah
proud.
yeah
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the Oscars. We're an awards website, so I was sitting there in the screening room. I love those scenes where the family is celebrating on the couch, as he wins.
Yeah, and you get to see Deborah Kerr introduce Trumbo.
Yeah.
Or another name.
I know. And then that random guy comes out. It's like, who is that?
Right.
Academy accepts this on the Academy's behalf for the Academy. It's very awkward.
Oh, God.
Do you think even though he couldn't and the family couldn't publicly say, that's our Oscar, that it gave him strength to continue moving on, knowing he's, people still thought he was a good writer even though it wasn't him?
Yeah. Oh, it must have been delicious. It must have been, the canary feathers were just poking out of his teeth. I'm sure he was quite difficult to live with.
Right. He's like, his ego is like...
I mean, I'm being facetious, of course, because you know, to the victor go the spoils, and he had the last laugh. And you know what they say about the person who has the last laugh. I mean, so as much as the sacrifice was cruel, it's just as much as the vindication was a bit of a salve to the wound, I think, you know, and had a lot to do with the Oscars. It had a lot to do with the Oscars, actually.
And both of you obviously work with Bryan Cranston here, and you get to, when you see the screening, you get to see all the scenes that you didn't even shoot with him. What was he like working with?
He was amazing. It makes you just feel so, I don't know, comfortable. And I was fortunate. I'd never met him before, so we did get to hang out, and we had, you know, rehearsals where we would sit down and talk about those scenes that I was most nervous about, where I actually had to kind of fight with him. I'm like, I'm definitely not going to win this, you know, against Bryan. But so that made me feel better, and just the way he ages and he just is Trumbo. Seeing him in the bathtub, you know, that iconic image of him, it was God, it was just incredible. So, and Diane, obviously, I loved our punching bag scene. That was great. That was very fun.
And what were your thoughts working with Bryan?
Oh, he's a force of nature, and he loves acting. He has a reverence for the craft that to be around is just, it's very enlivening. And he knew what he had as far as a dog with a bone with this role. I mean, he wasn't going to let it slip through his fingers, you know, the living up to Trumbo's legacy and honoring him and the family and all the blacklist people that endured such hardship, as well as, you know, having just come off of the LBJ play that he won the Tony for in New York, All the Way. Mm-hmm. So he was still coming down from that incredible theatrical, you know, steroidal high that you get when you're doing a play and you carry such a load like a locomotive train. He came barreling into this, and so he never really came down off of that and just carried that energy over into this independent film. There we are in New Orleans trying to recreate Hollywood in the 40s, and it was really quite a task. I mean, everybody brought their game. Every department was so proud to be working on this project.
Well, it's a great film, and good luck with it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.